Hello, hello, hello. Hey, hello, everybody. How are you? Joe Hart here, person with disabilities, primarily invisible disabilities. I'm just coming online. I missed you all this weekend a lot. I felt it was strange that I didn't cover Formula One. It was strange that I didn't cover NASCAR. It's strange that I was at those. I went to Albany last night. All of to yesterday to cover the two March Madness. The second round two, second round. Yeah, it's called second round. And that was pretty exciting. But yeah, I really miss not doing my streams. Be Survivor, how are you? And I'm here right on time. You are. That is so cool. Hey, what's up, Lyndon? How you doing? Man, Lyndon, I am so happy that you showed up. I am so, Lyndon, thank you so much for being here. You don't have to comment. You don't have to do anything. You can just view all you want. Thank you, Lyndon, for being here. Thank you so much. It's good to see you. So, how you doing, B? Are you doing okay? It's good to see you, of course. I hope all is well with you. I bet, I haven't talked to you in a minute. So I hope all is well. Well, maybe a little less than a minute or more than a minute. Or, I don't know how people use that these days. I'm not cool like the other people that say, haven't been there in a minute, which I think they mean years. Who? You mean Baines? That good question. Now, we don't talk about middle names, so I don't know Lyndon's middle name. Lyndon's on some other. I don't know Lyndon. I don't know Lyndon's middle name, but he's on. He's on another platform, so we won't really see him over here. But thank you for asking. So Lyndon Baines. Lyndon. No, I don't. I don't know his middle name, so I just call him Lyndon. But I love to see him. He'll probably come into my stream at the beginning of every stream. Just miraculously, he'll show up at the beginning of every one of them, I think, at least for a while. So I don't know his middle name. It's probably not Lyndon Baines. That's probably not his name. But B, thank you so much for asking. I really appreciate it. So B Survivor says, "Oh, I'm here right on time." You were right on time. I was late. I was like, 8:25, and I was hitting all these buttons. I'm OCD, so I had to start at 8:25, and I did, but it was like 8:25 and 56 minutes. So I mean, it really was 8:26, which is when you showed up. So you're right here. So B Survivor says, "I know I'm doing good. I know I'm doing good. So glad to be back. It's great having you back. I always like you having you be here, B, and you're good energy. You're a good person. You just rock. So I'm glad you're here. That's okay. Yeah. Well, thanks for asking. Thanks for asking if Lyndon was Baines. Lyndon Baines, but I don't know his middle name. Someday I'll probably find out his middle name. But thanks for asking. I don't know, and he might. Who knows? He might write a dissertation here, but I don't think he'll be too talkative. But so yeah, he might, but Lyndon Baines. Lyndon Baines. Yeah, I don't know his middle name, but that name's no, I don't know. No, yeah, I don't know that name, I don't think. I'm not sure if I don't thanks though. Of course, Joe. Well, of course, thank you. That's so nice. I mean, I appreciate you say, "Oh, thanks, Joe." Yeah, you are a rock star. You're a rock star. Rock star. I never watched Saturday Night Live. I don't like Saturday Night Live. It started when I was in high school. I was supposed to be super cool and watch that, and I never liked it. I never liked that sense of humor, but I do occasionally refer to things like Rockstar, and I don't even think she's funny. Molly Shannon or whatever her name is. I don't think she's exceptionally funny, but I do like to refer to him. So I apologize for anybody that really likes. So I just do Rockstar. Anyway, is that her name, Molly Shannon? I think it was. it was either Molly Shannon or someone that was around at that time with Molly Shannon. Anyway, enough about her. So, and these are, as people probably know, and I'm sorry, I'm getting off. Nightbot must be number 2. Oh no, I guess Lyndon. Okay, Lyndon must be the number 2. And I think my screen is a little different than your all screen, but mine says live 518, and then it has an eyeball and it says 2. But I think your all's is over here and it says 2. So that, and usually this number isn't always right. So I guess that's Lyndon, who's not Baines. Lyndon, not Baines. I don't know. So Lyndon and B. So that's probably the 2. Again, thank you, Lyndon. Thanks for being here. So, okay. And I'm sorry. I'll chill out with you, Lyndon. Yeah, I know. I don't mean to put the spotlight on you each and every stream, but it's so nice to have you here. Okay. So, anyway, as people probably know, I'm exploring, going in the direction more consistently to shorts. I'll call them shorts, but YouTube calls them shorts, and therefore StreamYard calls them shorts. Oh no, they don't limit it, but they say did I what please watch. I have 2 different Nightbots. Oh, links to come. I thought I eliminated that one. Anyway, whatever. These are the links now. And in LinkedIn, I mean, in YouTube, these are, you can click on them. They're clickable. Not in StreamYard. I can't click on them in StreamYard. But in YouTube, y'all can click on those and go straight to them. But anyway, I think it's fairly new to StreamYard that they're addressing shorts, and then, Facebook and Instagram calls them reels. And I'm pretty new to them all, but they're up to 60 seconds long. And then, you do a video of up to 60 seconds. And that's probably good for me because I get off topic and you ask me a question and then I go into this encyclopedia of stuff and people are like, whoa, that's not even what my question was. So, 60 seconds certainly helps me to kind of focus and stuff. So I've been doing, I don't know, I think I have 8 or 9 or something. And I would love it if everybody in the entire world would go watch every single one of them and give me positive feedback, only positive feedback. No, I'm joking. I've been accused that I only want positive feedback, but I'm joking. So I'd love for everybody to watch them and to give me, hopefully somewhat, kind, I don't know. Can I ask for kind criticism or critiquing or anything? So, it'd be nice. So anyway, I'm talking too much. So StreamYard is new to this world. I'm very new to this world, but similar to my live right now, I'm doing one live. I'm on my laptop streaming live on StreamYard. And within StreamYard, I can send it to 8 destinations or 8 platforms. Wow, thanks, B Survivor. I appreciate that. She says they are great shorts. Lots of information in these shorts. Well, thanks, B. And the other thing, along with getting feedback, and I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I do. And I welcome all criticism, all feedback. And but I hope that if it grows and stuff, I'll get a constant influx of people's suggestions on topics. They go, hey, what about this? Hey, Chase Elliott broke his leg. What do you think of this? Or, hey, Kimi Räikkönen, I don't know how to pronounce his name, is going to be a COTA this weekend. Do you think he's going to kick butt? I'm sorry, I don't remember what team he's driving for, but he's a guest. It's kind of, 10 years ago, NASCAR would have ringers. They would have road course ringers. And just about every driver, the 40 drivers that normally drove, they would either have ringers or they wish they had ringers. Now, 15 years later, they're all pretty good at road courses, so they don't need ringers as much. But anyway, it's going to be great to see Kimi. And then, of course, Jordan. I always forget Jordan's last name. I am so sorry. Chase Elliott broke his leg. Josh Berry is replacing him in the 9 for a few weeks in ovals, but they go this way. Sorry, my camera's, I don't know. These are lefts for me. Is that rights for you, or that's lefts for me? So he's on ovals, and then Jordan, who he has a what's it called when you have a pseudonym, or he has a superhero. Anyway, he has a fake name when he races. Someone Duststorm or somebody. Anyway, Randy Duststorm or something like that. Anyway, so I don't remember his real name or his fake name. Right, Circle? I thought it was. Oh no! I better do the ovals like they're supposed. Sorry, P Survivor, you make me laugh. Right circle on screen. Well, no one in NASCAR knows how to turn right. None of them do. They can only turn left. So I got it. That is funny. Thank you, B Survivor. I need to chill out and laugh more often. So that anyway. So Kimi Räikkönen and then Jordan. So that's Coda. I don't know why I was talking about Coda. Yeah, I forget. So let's get back to the shorts. So anyway, so I'm now, so I stream this live to 8 destinations. Facebook profile, Facebook page. I want to thank all of y'all too. Facebook, yeah, kind of an alter ego. Yeah, and Rodney, I'm golly, I can't remember his name. I'll type it in so I can figure it out. But Sandstorm is his last name, and he's goofy. He's not the most talented driver. I mean, Hendrick picked a great substitute for Chase Elliott, especially for a road course, and he'll do pretty well. He probably won't win. He might get top 5 or top 4 or something like that. But he's more goofy than really talented. He's a strange person. The way I didn't start my usual introduction of, hi, I'm Joe Hart. I'm a person with disabilities, and primarily invisible disabilities. And that's how I always started, except for today. I got so excited about Lyndon being here. Oh, Lyndon Notbanes. So it's good to have you, Lyndon, for sure. So anyway, so I won't talk about these shorts, will I? I keep getting off topic. So an alter ego. I think that is the words I was looking for. But Rodney, golly. Here, let me I want to get both his name and his alter ego name. Woo! There's a Planet Fitness right next to Madison Square Garden. And I think I found parking possibly. But I have to join. I don't belong and I don't use it for exercise, but I want it since it's right next to the garden. So Chase Elliott. And Jordan. Okay, so that should do it. Jordan Taylor. So Jordan Taylor with an O, I think. Jordan Taylor. I'm sorry, I always get you off topic. Where's Liza? Yeah, she certainly helps me. She keeps me on topic. I'll probably be off topic indefinitely for sure. Okay, so Jordan Taylor. So you say alter ego. So alter ego. Randy Sandstorm. That's his name. So I can't, sorry. That might be a little bright for you. So Rodney Sandstorm equals, what did I say his name? Jordan Taylor. Jordan Taylor. Which is sub for Chase Elliott at Coda. No, that's right. Yeah. Thanks for keeping me on. All topics are. I'm not off topic. You know that stuff. So Randy, and that's gonna post. It did post 4 times. It did. Sorry about that. So Rodney. So this is for Facebook page. Rodney Sandstorm equals Jordan Taylor sub for Chase Elliott at Coda, and then once again Francis Assistant, same thing, and then JoeHart on YouTube. Those were both YouTube, and then this is Twitch. I love you, Twitch. You're consistent. You keep coming, but I'm still learning about you. Sorry about that. So, anyway, so back to the, which those are off topic too, but, let's see here. So, okay. So StreamYard, I think is fairly new to shorts or reels. So the same philosophy. You make one video and then you can edit it and stuff. And I'm not a big fan of editing because with my OCD, I would take, 5 hours to edit a 1 minute video and take 15 hours to edit a 20-minute video. I just can't edit. So I need to, if I make a video and it's 1 minute, 7 seconds, I remake it. I mean, unless I say, thanks, and that was 7 seconds, then I'll probably delete all that. But otherwise, I must confess, I do a little editing the last, only at the end, for 2 or 3 seconds or whatever. Usually I say thanks, which I've been, anyway. So I say thanks, and then I hit the button, and people are like, "Oh, we see you hitting the button. Get rid of that." So anyway, if it goes over a minute, wow, these Nightbots seem to, anyway, B, just ignore, don't worry about those Nightbots. I'm still trying to figure those out. So recently in the last week or 2 or 3 or all of the above, I've made a 60-second video. If it was 1 minute, 3 seconds, but I could edit it 4 seconds, so it becomes less than a minute, then I would have it. And then I would, same thing like I'm doing now, I would broadcast, or I don't know what the words would be, but I would send it to 4 destinations. And the 4 destinations I have is, of course, my 2 YouTube channels, JoeHart, PwD's 8641, and then Francis Assistant -NK1GC, Nancy Kevin 1, George Charlie, NK1GC. That's a random letter and number thing. So, and then, of course, Facebook, which is JoeHart PwD's. I don't think that's really the name, but it might be. I thought I had like 17 numbers in it. But anyway, it says that, and I think you can click on it and it will go to it. So that's my Facebook page, and that's the reels. So anyway, I would love it if everybody in the world followed me everywhere. They're called different things, but on Facebook, it'd be great if you friended me. If YouTube, you subscribe to me. Instagram, I think they're called follow. I would love all of that. And I'd love you to watch all 4 shorts, but they're the exact same thing. I made one video and I sent it to 4 destinations. So that would be overkill. But anyway, that's how that goes. And that's pretty new. I have about 8 or 9 of them. They're all 1 minute or less. And I'm welcoming feedback. And, I'm just coming up, the way I'm going to take a drink here. I think I'm a little dry here. The way I would take, hold on. Some of the thoughts that I've had about feedback goes, and, it's not because I don't want people to disagree with me and have negative feedback and stuff. It may seem like it. It may seem like I'm pretty hypersensitive, and I am. But I usually, if I know where it's coming from and if it's really to improve the product and stuff, then that's when negative feedback is okay. But anyway, so the 3 ideas I had, which y'all can do whatever you want, but the 3 ideas I had, and I'm going to butcher this because I typed it and I sent it to people, but were you aware, if you look at one of my shorts, and there's 8 of them. So if you look at one and it's about, let's just say it's about Haas F1 team and how, a couple years ago they had a Russian driver and they got millions of dollars from his father, and the father was a consultant of Putin. And when the war started, they cut ties with an enormous sponsor with millions of dollars because of the war. Now, that same Russian driver did it, and I'm sorry, I just can't help not mentioning these things. I do apologize, but that same Russian driver. You know, he was 21 at the time, or 22, and he groped a female, and seemingly without consent, and then posted it. He's the one who posted it online. He thought, I'm a billionaire and women love me and I can do whatever I want. So he posted it, and he got horrible feedback, and he made a half-hearted apology. And the girl said, the woman said, we're friends, and, no big deal. But then, of course, she stopped following him on all platforms, and blocked him on a couple of platforms and stuff, and did other interviews and said, I was pressured into saying that and stuff. But anyway, so Haas never fired him because of that. Formula One didn't sanction Haas because of that. Nothing happened. Nothing ever happened about the groping. That was a huge. I've stopped calling him by his name. I would do what position, and he was always in last place. He was always 20th. So I gave him we say no to, and then we used to say his last name. So I just said we say no to, and then I put the SHIT emoji. So that's who I referred to him as. We say no to SHIT. And I was pretty harsh. Like I said, I don't talk about people. I don't talk about Joe Biden. I write Joe Biden. I don't talk about Donald Trump. I write to Donald Trump. I don't like that. I talk to them. So I was talking to Gene Haas, and I was talking to Putin, and I talked to everybody about this situation. And I was pretty jacked up. Anyway, they dropped the sponsor because of the war, and everything kind of died down. And then about 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago, I think last 3 weeks ago, someone was doing some snooping and found out that Haas, golly, I'm talking about one of my shorts, and I'm talking about it for 5 minutes. Oh my goodness. No wonder shorts are good for me. Someone did some research and found out that Haas, Gene Haas, he's a billionaire, and he's the lone owner of his company, and it's Haas CNC Automation or something like that. And he used to work for a CNC company and saw, where they suffered, and he's an engineer. And so he created his own, and it's clearly superior, and it's clearly more expensive. And I mean, wow, he's really smart. And, so anyway, everybody wants his stuff, including Russia. So he is still, we discovered that he is still making money. He's selling these CNC automation, specialized, not just a regular CNC machine. These were special made for weapons. I'm butchering it has a precise, exact pinpoint weapon. It had exact description. So he gave that. Anyway, was making money, and I have the exact number. I forget if it was 2.3 or 5.1, or it was a couple of $1 million that he made. Currently, he was still selling this stuff. So people are like, oh my God, Formula One has sanctions. It's in the rule book that they have sanctions for that. And so everybody's like, A, they need sanctions. B, they need to be scolded. 3, they might be thrown out. Whatever. So anyway, I don't know if this is the end of the story, because I'm not going to drop it. But Formula One just raced last weekend, yesterday in Saudi Arabia. And even though I was at the basketball games, I still watched every broadcast of them talking, and not one talking head talked about Haas. And I don't know. Again, my mind races too much, so I don't know if the reason might have been Sorry, I got a little, okay, so Nightbot's cool. Thank you so much. Constructive criticism. Yeah, man, for sure. The whole thing is just so bizarre. Oh, about Haas. Yeah, it is. So, but yeah, not one talking. So I don't know if it's the end of the story. But my mind thinks too much. So I was thinking, I bet, Formula One, FIA, Liberty Media, Liberty Media owns Formula One, and they're all in bed together, and they're getting a bad rap recently about Saudi Arabia, Qatar, who's the other? Dubai, and they're making millions of dollars from these countries that they bring their show to, that have, not the best, human rights and women's rights. And, so they're getting a real negative, and so I can only imagine that all three of those, Formula One, FIA, and Liberty Media, sat them all down and said, this weekend, not one person will talk about Haas. We don't need to hear about Russia, sanctions, CNC machines, weapons. We don't need to hear about any of that. And it happened. There's a lot of rogues. I can't think of Adam. Sorry, I shouldn't even try to think of his name. Is Zambi? Sorry, I don't even want to try to. But there are a couple rogue, like some of the main announcers are rogue. So I thought one of them would have announced it, but no one. So anyway, that might happen. Who knows if the story's done or not. So anyway, what I'm trying to say, which was, that was way too long. That was way too long. So I have a 60-second video, and the three questions I was thinking about, that's what I was trying to get to. Boy, was I. Anyway, so were you aware of the situation before you saw or heard of my short? Did you learn something from my short? But that's question number 3. I can't think of the second question. Let me see. ATFB. He's going live. I think that's his personal thing. I love agenda-free TV, and I know I keep repeating that. But if he ever went, I think I'm going to look at it real quick here. I think he's going, I think it's his personal thing, which is still okay. Can you hear me now? Oh, today is Monday, though. He might be talking about Trump. I don't see. Anyway, I like him so much that no matter how many people I have in my channel, I'd be like, everybody sign out and go. Yeah, so it's a live Monday night stream. So that's his personal stream. It's still entertaining, but it's just entertainment. I like him as a media person, as a news person. So, okay. So, anyway, I can't think of the 3 questions, but you kind of get the idea. I don't mind having constructive criticism, as B Survivor said. Yeah, constructive criticism. That's improving the product. Don't try to improve JoeHart. Anyway, I don't want to put stipulation on. I mean, I think JoeHart is part of the product or service that's being provided. So I guess I do have to be available for all that kind of stuff. I did not know much before watching it, and then it made me research a lot. I heard about Haas, and that's just one. There's the other 8, but it's like Chase Elliott breaking his leg. Probably people were already aware of it. They might not have known who was taking his place and things like that, and but I was mostly upset about sponsors. I was like, I always have a podium that, I always have a bone to pick with every topic, but I was mostly upset about sponsors. I was like, Chase was inconsiderate. I don't know if I necessarily would say irresponsible, because, people take risk, and, it may be irresponsible or it might be risky or whatever, but he was definitely inconsiderate. There's hundreds of employees, hundreds of employees that make money because of Chase Racing. And that affects their home life, the house they own, the cars they own, the private schools that those kids are going to. Those are all tied into Chase driving. And Chase needed to go snowboarding on a Friday, the day before qualifications. So there's an argument, that maybe, of course, you can go snowboarding. I mean, of course you can. People aren't, they're not putting it into the contract. But anyway, it's can you do it but after season? Can you do it but not during the weekend? Can you do it any day you want? It's a whole bunch of stuff. Oh my goodness. So results, points, and standing. So my description there says results, point, standing. That's the same thing. The points for everybody and the standings for everybody. F1, Cup, and March Madness MBB, which is men's basketball, and plus. That was the topics I picked. Results probably want it to be number one, or at least, to talk about. Let me do, you all probably know that I kind of lean toward Formula One, but I'll go to, where is it, J-Ski? Did I mess up? Where is this? Oh, I guess I didn't do it yet. Sorry, I'm probably on your camera, but I went off camera. So results. I'm not going to do points for NASCAR because there's just too many series and it's too confusing. And so what were we? Phoenix? Atlanta. We did Atlanta. So I'm going to do results for NASCAR. Click here on the download PDF. Okay, so it's on screen. So let me go back to StreamYard. That's cool that you wanted to research a lot. Let me take these banners off. I keep forgetting about those. So there you go. I updated those, by the way, just to let you know. My OCD, they block a lot, but as you can probably see, the thing on top there, please follow me on TikTok. It used to be 3 lines. And I said, I don't care what it says, but it's got to take 2 lines. So I was eliminating, like I say, NYT dot thank you dot. So I didn't care what it said. I mean, of course I cared what it said, but it had to be 2 lines. So I got that down to 2 lines. That was pretty cool. Now this doesn't really have I don't know if it has a limit or not. Wait a minute. Where is this? Yeah. So that hello and welcome to all. I did rewrite that and update it, but I could write encyclopedias to these things. So it could be just forever stuff. So, boy, what did I do? Anyway, let's take all those down. Okay. So now I'm back to comments. So, okay. So, let's go present, share screen. And Avries. I don't know the name of this. 123015. Okay, so this is I'll probably stay. Well, no, I like to stay on screen so you can see me and things like that. But sometimes I take me off screen so that it can expand so that you can read it. So I wish I could do both. I wish I could get it big enough so that you all can read it and you can still see me. But probably at the beginning there, I'll probably go off screen. So let me go full screen layout. So I go off screen for you, and now I'm going to go off screen for me and look at it. So this is NASCAR. This is the results of yesterday's race at Atlanta. So just to read the top part, NASCAR Cup Series race. This is number 5. Race results for the Amber Health 400. They all have a name and they all have the number of laps, generally the number of laps in the name. And it was Sunday, March 19th, yesterday. And then Atlanta Motor Speedway, Hampton, Georgia, 1.54 miles paved. Now, what's new about Atlanta the last 2 or 3 years, it has become a super speedway, even though it's only 1.5 miles. So we used to have Daytona International Speedway and Talladega Super Speedway, and those two were known for the big one. And they would, they would say, Sorry, I'll come back. So, you know, it was known for the big one. So, when you watch Daytona 500, that's 200 laps for 2.5 miles each to make 500 miles. For anyway, left, right, east, west, you know. When you go around that oval, you're always waiting for the big one, and that's what they call it. And you know, I think the occurrence of the big one, or you know, many of them had multiple big ones, but which just means an extraordinary huge amount of cars in a wreck. So that's what they call a big one. Anyway, it was always just those two places. You know, people counted on it, they expected it, they knew 40 cars were all within 1.5 seconds, so you don't have enough time to respond when someone makes a human error or skids or their tire blows. Whenever anything happens, no one has time to react. So that's why they're all within very little short of space. And that's why they wreck and everything. So anyway, Atlanta, I don't know all the engineering, but they redug up the track. They arched it, you know, they banked it, and they did all sorts of things to make it become a super speedway. And so even though it's 1.54 miles, which is miniature for a super speedway, it's got the same features. So they are now all bunched up and they're all drafting with each other, and it's all very scary, and it's all very, so it's and that's brand new. So they've been going to Atlanta for, I don't know how many years, but probably 40, 50 years. And then now poof, this is a brand new thing. They go twice, or recently they started going twice a year. There was a while there they were going once a year, but anyway, they probably have gone twice a year for about 3 years. So that's 6 races. I think the last 4 have been this new thing. And so anyway, they now say they have 3 super speedways. One's 1.5 miles and 2 are much larger. So it's new to everybody. Yes, it was quite a race. I mean, it's pretty, you know, this is still brand new. You know, Joey, anyway, I don't want to blow it for anybody, but Joey Logano won the pole. As you can see on the sheet there of the results, Joey Logano won the race. And there's just, anyway, it's still new to everybody. All the drivers, all the crew chiefs, and then whoever, you know, the car chiefs, you know, all the people involved in this is new information. They have a notebook that's puny. It's not 20 years of notebook, which doesn't help because the car changes so much. But, you know, it's brand new. It's just 3 or 4, you know, 3 or 4 races. I think it's 2 years. I don't know for sure, but I think it's 2021. The second race was the first one. And in 22, we got 2 races, and I think this is the 4th race, somewhere thereabouts. So it's really cool. I mean, if you like that, if you like super speedways. So it was really dynamic. So let me go back to full screen layout, and then I'll go back to it. And that was my huge discussion of 1.54 miles. It's a super speedway, but it's really small. And then total race length, 260 laps, 400.4 miles. So as you can tell from the chart there, it has finish position, starting position, car number, driver name, team, including sponsor and car manufacturer, laps finished, stage 1 position, stage 2 position, points total for the entire race. The status of their car running means they were still running at the end. Times, I think that's times they led. So there was 5, like for example, for Joey Logano, it's 5 different times he led the race for a total of 140 laps. It's 260 laps. So he led for 140 out of 260. I mean, that's 3/4. That's 2/3, 3/4 of the race. That's forever. That's all of it. And then playoff points 6. So he kicked butt. So anyway, that's the columns there. So I'll probably just do the first 10, and then I'll just read the names of the next. I might do status. Status is always cool. I mean, some of them is kind of cool. So anyway, first, as we said, is Joey Logano. Let me bring this up. And then before I get in, let me jump back out to the, okay. So it looks like I'm okay with comments and everything. So okay, so I'm going to jump off. I'll be off screen, yo. Yay, Joey. Yeah, man. And I just noticed for stage 2, he got second. I mean, this guy, there is nothing he did wrong. He is calculated. I was talking earlier to someone. I was calling it, he willed it. He's everything is amazing about him. He's from Connecticut. He's from New England. He's really smart. Those are just not common in motorsports. And he willed it. And he's really super nice. He laughs, he smiles, and he says, when I get on the track, you're not my friend, and I will probably wreck you. I mean, he's the most honest, direct. I mean, he's amazing. Anyway, so Joey finished and started first. Car number 22, Auto Trader. Y'all kept seeing it on the camera. He did all 260 laps. So for stage 1 position, let me scroll up because that's being blocked, I guess. Let's see here. So stage 1 position first, stage 2 position second. Man, there's nothing he did wrong. Points 59, status running, times, like I said before, for 5 different times during the race, he led it. And a total of 140 laps out of 260 laps. Playoff points 6. And if you scroll down, Austin Cindric has 1 playoff point. I mean, there's not many playoff points. That's amazing they get that. So, okay, Brad was second. 2 different times he led for 47 laps. Christopher Bell was third. He led once for 6 laps. And then Corey LaJoie. Golly, I can't believe Corey LaJoie was 4th. He should be like 30th. And that's getting back to super speedways. At Daytona and Talladega, anybody can win on any given day. So we're now seeing that here as a super speedway. That's not true at most tracks. The top 20 drivers are the only 20 drivers that will win the race. The other 20 will never, ever, ever win the race. And that's too bad, but that's kind of how it works. Corey LaJoie, he would never get top 5 or top 10 or top 15 at any other track. So anyway, I don't mean to brag on him. I'm talking about super speedways. So Corey LaJoie 4th, Tyler Reddick 5th, Denny Hamlin 6th. He had 2 times he led for 14 laps. Ryan Blaney 7th. He led once for 5 laps. Eric Jones, Ty Gibbs. Kyle Busch led twice for 7 laps. Austin Cindric led once for 5 laps. And he got 1 playoff point. I guess that's stage 2 points. I guess that's his 1 point. Noah Gragson, which shouldn't be way up there. Ross Chastain. Now, that was really controversial about whether he touched Kevin Harvick or not. It's clear by the cameras. It's fairly clear by the cameras that he did not touch Kevin Harvick's camera and a car, even though Kevin's spun out and wrecked. And, there's 10 cars in that accident. And I don't think Ross is at fault, and I don't think his car did touch Kevin. But also 100% of motorsports fans know about aerodynamics, and they know that you can very adversely affect another car with air. And we started learning about that 25 years ago. So it's really common now that you can adversely affect someone by air. So it doesn't matter whether he touched them or not. Sorry, I've been going on for a while. So I'm going to go out here. So I'm going to just check real quick. Okay, so let me come back. Okay, off camera. So, okay, so 13th, Alex Bowman. I'm not sure if I noticed, but I think he's the first Hendrick. I'm going to go back up. Blaney Jones. Holy poop. Holy poop. 14th place is the highest Hendrick. Now, I'm sure they're pretty upset about their penalty, and they're going to, they're going to appeal it and stuff. But all 4 crew chiefs were suspended, and they didn't, appeal that, or not. They call it something else where they can have them come back during the appeal, but they didn't do that. But anyway, 14th, that's amazingly bad. Okay, 15th, Todd Gilliland. He's one of those that should be in the bottom 10. So that's great. He's 15th. AJ Allmendinger, Ricky Stenhouse, who for one time he led 7 laps. Josh Berry, Martin Truex Jr., Austin Dillon, Michael McDowell, Justin Haley, Ty Dillon, Chase Briscoe, Cody Ware. Cody Ware one time left led one lap. Oh my goodness. Cody Ware ought to be 40th every single week. And I don't mean to be mean to him. He knows he's at the bottom, but that's phenomenal that Cody Ware is 25th. That's amazing. Now I'm going to start looking at the running. Let's go a little further. So JJ Yeley, Bubba Wallace, Ryan Preece. So through 28th is Ryan Preece. So if you go over to the running column, then those 28 are all running. Now they didn't make 260 laps there. If you go up to number 23rd is Ty Dillon. He's 260, which is a total race. So the people that are lapped by one lap only made 259 below, and then two laps, they only made 258, and then 255, and then 244, and those are all the running. So through 28th, Ryan Preece, they were all still running, even though he's 16 laps behind. He's still running. Anyway, the rest of them, as you can tell, I don't know what a DVP is. I could probably figure it out if I kept talking about the topic, but, probably some joint. Yeah, I'm not going to try to figure it out. So it's mechanical, I'm sure. So I don't know what it is. I have no idea what it is. So Daniel Suarez out because of DVP. The next four are out because of an accident. Harrison Burton out because of DVP. And then the last two were an accident. And as you can see on the laps, BJ McLeod, Chris Buescher, both at 189. So they're the same accident. And then Harrison Burton, DVP, a lap later. And then the next four, the first two, you don't know if they're together or not. Harvick is 190. Byron is 192. Maybe they're the same accident, but Byron was able to go one or two laps more. And then the next two, of course, I remember the next two, but they're both 208. So they happened at the exact same time. Eric Almirola was in front. He was way ahead of everybody, so no one touched him. He spun. He took out Kyle Larson, and so they're both 208. So anyway, those are the kind of things. The things down at the bottom are really interesting, but I'm spending too much time on this. I do apologize. I hope it's fairly interesting. This is kind of where I think it would be neat to get, some interaction of, hey, I like that, can you go into more detail about that and stuff like that? So anyway, I'm going to flip over to yes. Oh my goodness. DVP, damaged vehicle policy. Yes. Yeah, the damaged vehicle policy is fairly new. I think last year was the first year or 2 years ago. It's fairly new. And so when a car is damaged, it used to be that you could be in an accident and still just drift around the track and have things fly off your car and you just kept being in the race. But they finally said, we can't have things flying off of cars. So either you repair your car or you're out of the race. So whenever this started, a year or two or three ago, whenever, I don't know when it happened, but when it started, they would say, okay, when you are in an accident and something happens where, I forget the criterion, something like you have to repair something, then the clock starts, this damaged vehicle policy. So as soon as you're damaged and you got to repair it, you now have, I think it used to be 6 minutes to repair it. So the clock starts, and that includes the time to go down pit road, which you're going really slow, and then you fix it. And then it's kind of confusing because you can also do half the repairs, go around so you don't get a lap behind, and then stop again and then finish it again. But anyway, everybody was hitting the 6 minutes and being thrown out of the race. So they're like, wait, you got to do a little. So I think it ultimately went to 7 minutes. There's a discussion of 10 minutes, and they're like, man, you can build an entire car in 10 minutes. So it's not, 10 minutes is not fair. You can start with a chassis. You can start with a chassis and have a car in 10 minutes. So it can't be 10 minutes. So they're like, okay, 7 minutes. So they did 7 minutes. Anyway, for Atlanta this weekend, the race was Sunday. Well, a couple hours before the race, they have a driver's meeting, a driver's and crew chief meeting, and they just talk about blah, 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 all the rules and stuff. Anyway, for damaged vehicle policy, they changed it from 7 minutes to 8 minutes. They increased it by 1 minute, which to those crew chiefs, they're like, thank you, we'll take a minute. But the reason they added the minute is because they changed pit road. They almost doubled the length of pit road, so it was half of the track. So the track is 1.54, 1.5 miles. So half of that was pit road, which is 0.75 miles. And you're going, I think 45. I think they said 45 or 55 miles an hour instead of 185. So it's horribly slow. So anyway, they added a minute just for travel time. So, you know, they increased it from 7 to 8 and everybody's like, thank you, thank you. But the 1 minute is, wow, I didn't know that. Yeah. I was gonna, you know, when I saw the DVP, I was gonna say, I think it's that repair thing. So I'm glad you got the official name. Thank you so much, B. But that's why I was guessing that it was. But so anyway, they had 8 minutes, and so that means these two guys did not finish in 8 minutes. You know, who do we have there? I think Daniel Suarez, and so Daniel Suarez had DVP and Harrison Burton. So I don't know what happened. I don't know, you know, what the wreck was, but they were damaged, and so the clock started. So anyway, yeah. No problem. Looked it up quick. Yeah, that was so cool. So that hooked right in there. So that's cool. So anyway, super speedways are the exception. It used to be 2 races, which was 4 races. I mean, 2 tracks, which is 4 races, but now there's 3 tracks, which is 6 races, but it's still an exception, even though that number is growing. It's 6. And then I do believe, I'm just guessing, that all other tracks will be back to the 7 minutes. And again, you think about these, you know, you and me, I mean, the general public are going to say 7 minutes, give up, you wrecked, throw your hands up, give up, you know, go to the garage. And they're like, 7 minutes, that's 7, you know, that's, you know, and I'm trying to think of what the old format was, but it essentially they're just shown the garage, or they chose, like you know, like Kyle Busch gets so upset, like the drivers could, if you drive to the garage, you're done, or if you get out of your car, you're done. So drivers would get so upset they would just drive to the garage and then they were done, and it's like, you don't do that. You know, so anyway, it's kind of neat that the crew chief and the car chief and all these mechanical people are saying, give me 7 minutes, give me 7 minutes. So they're putting on, you know, that Bondo, you know, they have a duct tape, but it's mega and it's 4 feet wide instead of our 6-inch wide. So they were, you know, they're like, give me 7 minutes. I'm going to get your car back onto the track. And I think it mostly came from parts flying off the car, which makes sense. We can't have cars with parts flying off the car. Although that happens during a race, but once it's loose, they don't want it to keep coming off. LOL, right. That's pretty interesting. It's a pretty neat thing how they came up with it. And it's still evolving. Like, you know, you know, you don't have to, you know, I don't know exactly when it started, but it was relatively recent. 1, 2, 3, 4 years. It's been relatively recent. And I do believe every other month they're modifying it. So it's a work in progress. It is definitely, well, plus because the mechanics, you know, like, you know, everybody talks about the TV networks are the number one people. They're the one, you know, they make everybody the money. So everybody, you know, and also the fans, you know, they talk about the fans and they're like, you know, Joey Logano fans don't want him in the garage. So, you know, NASCAR wanted to engage with the crew chiefs and the car chiefs, you know, the crew chiefs, and say, how do we make sure cars don't go to the garage? How do we keep them out on the track? And so this is how they came up with it. You know, Joey Logano sells. You want him on the track. Kyle Busch, whether you love him or hate him, you want him on the track. So it was kind of cool they came up with all this stuff. Anyway, that's the NASCAR thing. Sorry, I got, you know, that was some cool stuff. Wow, this is the most I've ever drank in a stream. I'm glad I'm taking care of myself. Although I didn't make my tea. I'm trying to do hot tea to get healthier and all that kind of stuff. So, okay. So, let's stop that screen. Cool. Well, thanks, B. Thanks for the feedback. Yeah, I thought it was pretty interesting. So, okay, let's go to Formula One. I'll try not to get too bogged down, but I was pretty excited about Formula One for many reasons, like, I mean, I'm pretty, okay. So let's do results first. And then if I don't spend a half an hour on it, we can do driver standings and constructor standings. Because that's really what this stream is supposed to be about. I don't really need to do the March Madness and stuff. So, okay, so this is Formula One STC Saudi Arabian Grand Prix 2023 race result. And, I don't know if anybody's, I don't know how much people know about Formula One and if you seen the race or not, but there's 23 races in the season. Max Verstappen, who races for Red Bull, won last year, and then under very controversial situation, he won 2 years ago. And he started the first race of the season 2 weeks ago, super hot, super fast. He put it on cruise for 2/3 of the race because he was killing everybody. And people are like, he's going to win 23 races. He's going to win 23 races. And we're like, no way. And last year was super exciting, but I just don't remember things. And I think people are saying he won 15 of 21 races. I can't believe he won that many, but or he won 16 of 21 or something. And, Michael Schumacher, who's one of the greatest ever, he's certainly a GOAT of Formula One, and he's in a coma, and they won't tell us if he's living or, they won't tell us about it, which is their prerogative, of course. But and he won 15 of 20. So I was like, I didn't know. I mean, I care about current stuff. I don't really care about old stuff. But I didn't know. I love 2022, but I didn't notice that Max won the record. So anyway, when everybody said he's going to win 23, I was like, there's no way in heck Max is going to win 23. And I think that's an obvious statement. There's tire trouble and power units and reculturing, reharvesting of the the power unit. There's so many things that can go wrong that there's so many things that go wrong. You're not going to be perfect on the, he had a stomach bug. He came 2 days late or 1.5 days late to the race this weekend because of stomach bug, which, most drivers say that doesn't mean anything. You can be horribly sick, and as soon as you sit in the car and you start it up, wow, things go away because you like to race and you're going to race. And he did really well. But anyway, the format for Formula One, they have 3 free practices, free practice 1, 2, and 3, and then qualifying, and then the race. Friday is the first 2, Saturday is the next 2, and Sunday is the race. And Max was first place for all 3 free practices, and then he got into qualifying, and he was first place for. There's 3 qualifying sessions. So the first one, he was first place, which it doesn't. You just have to be top 15 and then top 10, and then you qualify. So he was top 15 easily. He was the top. And then during the second session, his car petered out and he didn't finish, and he pulled over and he qualified 15th. He was the last of 15. He was ahead of 5 cars because he got to round 2. But in round 2, he was the last place car, 15th. And everybody was like, everybody was abuzz. They're like, wow, is Perez going to get the pole, or Leclerc, or, Hamilton, or Sainz, or I always say his name wrong. Sorry about that. Carlos Sainz. I think it's Sainz. So, it was just a buzz. And so anyway, I always need to make my testosterone, points. So I texted a couple people and I was like, ha, he lost his, too much testosterone and too much machismo. And, I went a little overboard, but anyway, so that's what I do. So, anyway, he didn't, he qualified 15th. So Perez, and, I say I don't, what's it called about predicting the future? I don't predict who's going to win qualifying or the pole or the race, but sometimes I do. I go, oh, what the hell, and I'm never right. So I don't even think about it. But for this weekend, and it just happened. I'm not bragging about it at all. But before Max had his failure, I said, Perez is going to get the pole and Perez is going to get the race. And I was like, okay, it's really just wishful thinking, but that's what I think is going to happen. And again, before Max's car crashed or, died or whatever, happened. And so he died and the car died. And then Perez got the pole. It was close. Second, third, fourth were all really close because everybody was excited. They're all like, Max is racing. We can't do anything. Second place is the first loser, all that stuff. They just, and then as soon as this is on the radio. As soon as he says his car dies, the other 9 teams and the other 19 drivers know immediately that his car died. And all of them are like, oh my golly, I can do something, which is good, but it's good, so, anyway, Perez did get the pole and he did get the, okay, that's enough about Max. I don't mean to complain. Like I say, I try to like Gene Haas, and I do. I like Gene Haas. I don't like Tony Stewart. I tolerate him because of Gene Haas. And I don't really like Gunther Steiner. I think that's how you pronounce his name on Formula One. But Gene hired him. Or Gene didn't hire him. He bought a team, and that was the team principal. So he kept the team principal. So I like Max, and Max was kind of an underdog 2 years ago. 2 years ago, Mercedes was always winning, and Lewis Hamilton was always winning. I just don't like dominations. I don't like dynasties. So there's no way. I mean, I followed Formula One through all of Mercedes' wins and all of Lewis Hamilton's wins, through all of them. But I didn't really notice, and I was kind of bummed out, and I'd get pissed off, and, Mercedes blocked me and, things like that. But, it just, it's so unfulfilling. It's like, who cares, and it was bad enough that Mercedes always won and then Lewis Hamilton always won. But to put the icing on the cake, Valtteri Bottas, God, I know his name, Valtteri Bottas got second all the time. So it was a clean out, whatever that's called. It was a sweep. So it's like, how unfulfilling. Who cares that someone dominates? So anyway, I was cheering for Max. One of the people that taught me about Formula One, but I already knew his stuff. But one of the guys that taught me about Formula One was from Meerkat with my live streaming many years ago. And he lived in the Netherlands. And he was like, Max is going to be so cool. And so I was cheering for him as an underdog. And I like Max. I don't, with Kyle Busch, everybody hates him, or most people love him or hate him, but usually hate him because of his personality. And Max is kind of cocky now, and people don't like him much because he's winning, but also because of his personality. And I've always said for both of them, and I think I say it for every driver, is we don't hire them to be a good personality. We don't hire them to be a good guy. We hire them to race. We want them to race. And if that includes getting on, blinders and just race and not being friends or, whatever. Why do people, I don't get it. And I understand marketing, and I understand sponsors, and they want Kyle Busch to be nice and Kyle Busch to thank them and not say F and not, flip the bird to NASCAR and all the things that he's done. I get all that, but we hired him to drive, which, Joe Gibbs Racing, he did let him go last year, but he did keep him for 15 years through very controversial things. And Joe is very religious, very, very spiritual. And he said, I've got you, Kyle. I mean, he might bring him into the office and scold him and say, gosh darn it, could you stop doing these things and putting me in the corner? But he kept them. And Mars did too. M&M's and Mars Industries or whatever they're called, Mars, whatever. So M&M's, I think they're still a privately held company. They're a family. It's a family business, even though they're billions and billions and billions worth of chocolate, because we're all addicts of chocolate. They have so much money, but it's a privately held company. It's one family. So that family loved Kyle Busch. And every time something happened, one of the family members had to say, well, he's a good driver. And we did ask him not to say that. And, but they just always support him. So anyway, I guess I should be doing that with Max. I don't dislike Max temporarily because of his personality. I just don't want him to win all the time. So anyway, I said that was enough about Max, but no, I just keep going and going and going. Okay, so I'm going to go off screen. Full page layout. As you can tell, I'll probably talk about every driver. So let's see here. So this is the race result. So as you can tell, Sergio Perez did win the race. Oh, man, that was the other thing. Okay, so this week, Perez got first, Max got second. Last week, Max got first, Perez got second. So they, have equal amount of points. So that was 20 plus 18 and 18 plus 20. I'm sorry, 25 plus 18 and 18 plus 25, whatever that is, 43 points. So they both had 43 points. But you get a point to have the fastest lap. And 2 weeks ago, neither one of them got the fastest lap. There was Sonoda got, I think, Zhou Guanyu, I think, got the fastest lap. But he wasn't top 10, so no one got the point. So this week, Perez had the fastest lap for 3/4 of the race. And then Max would do it, and then Perez would do it 3 times. And then Max would do it, and then Perez would do it for 3 times. So anyway, there's about 5 laps to go, Max gets on the radio. He gets on the radio. Sorry, I get about that. Oh yeah, more. You laughing because I keep talking about. So anyway, so Max gets on the radio and he says, so what's the deal about the fastest lap? And everybody, I would get these links, from in Discord and stuff. I get these links and it'd be like, oh man, Max just told his engineer to F off. And I'm like, that's not the engineer. That's the team principal. He is such a baby and makes them so much money and he's so talented that the team principal talks to him. So anyway, the team principal said, Max, we don't care about the fastest lap. And he said, but I do. Because he knew they were going to be tied in points and whoever gets that 1 point will be leading after 2 races. And Max just didn't want his teammate, Perez is his teammate. He didn't want his teammate to be ahead by 1 point. So his team principal, the boss of the team. That's basically the team principal. They're not the owner and they're not the president. They're not the CEO, but they're really the boss of the team. So the boss just told you, we don't care about the fastest lap because Perez had it and Max had an inferior tire. And, there's no way that Max was going to get the fastest lap. So they're like, we don't care about that right now. And Max said, but I do. Anyway, he went 3 more laps. And then on the last lap, the last 50 laps, on the last lap, Max gets the fastest lap to the checkered flag. He's, second. And so he gets second, but he gets the fastest lap. So he gets a point. So I tend to read people's language and their voices and their faces and stuff. And I can do pretty well. Anyway, Perez won and he was on the stage. They always interview the podium for a second, third. And it was, Perez, Max Verstappen, and then I hope to someday get to Fernando Alonso because he's the rock star. He's the guy I'm really excited about. But which were the same three guys on the podium last week, but 1 and 2 was 2 and 1. So they interview Perez first, so he's getting less information. Plus, once he takes off the helmet, he's not getting radio communication. So he takes off his helmet, takes off his, his mask and, all that stuff and puts the ear plugs and he's putting anyway. So he gets asked a couple of questions, which are great and really nice questions. And he's beaming ear to ear and he's like, you're right. I kicked butt. I did really well. And it just kills me. It just kills me that clearly Perez didn't use words to say this, but clearly from his reaction, Perez was unaware that Max got the fastest lap. Perez thought he was ahead by 1 point because he had the fastest lap for 80% of the race, but Max would get it like every 10th lap. And they're like, oh God, got to get back faster and faster and faster. And, so he thought he had the fastest lap, was ahead by 1 point. So they ask him 5 questions. He's beaming ear to ear and stuff. And then finally they have the zinger and they go, hey, so, and they don't say, I assume you know, or you probably know by now, or, they didn't refer to any of that, whether he knew or not. But they said, so Max got the fastest lap on the last lap. So he has the point. So he's ahead. So what do you think of that? And you could clearly tell he was unaware of that. And that just kills me. They have millions of dollars worth of technology. You just needed one person to say, hey, Max, and no one wants to be giving him bad news, but he's about to be interviewed. So you have to give him, he has to know before he goes up there. So anyway, it killed me. So anyway, I talked about that too much. So, and again, back to Max, but that was all about Perez mostly. So let me go back to, full screen layout, and I'm going to go off screen to me also. So, where'd it go? Okay, so Sergio Perez, number 1. Max Verstappen, number 2. He was plus 5.3 seconds, which these seconds are pretty critical for the 3rd and 4th. 3rd place, Fernando Alonso from Aston Martin. He is kicking butt. He qualified 2nd. Because someone moved back, Charles Leclerc moved back from a 10 point. So anyway, Fernando qualified 3rd, but started the race on 2nd because Fernando. So when he started 2nd, he knew he was the best he could do was 3rd. And if nothing happened bad, the worst he was going to do was 3rd. He knew that he was going to get 3rd. Anyway, as you can tell, he's plus 20.728 seconds. The critical thing is that next person, George Russell. He's plus 225.866 seconds. And as you can tell, that's little more than 5 seconds. Anyway, Fernando Alonso had a perfect start at the race at the beginning of the race, but it ended up he was out of his box a little bit. So he's penalized 5 seconds. Well, George thought he was going to get that penalty later in the race, but Alonso did it his first pit stop. So he served 5 seconds. So he no longer had a 5-second a penalty. So George was like, hey, I still got 5 seconds on him. And they're like, no, George, he's already served the 5 seconds. So you were racing him second to second. And they're like, OMG. So then Fernando, am I off screen? I should probably go back to being on screen. I hope, is any of this exciting? I hope it's pretty exciting. So anyway, Fernando, he came into a pits and they take 2.2 seconds and he has a 5-second penalty. So they pull in and it has to sit there with nothing happening for 5 seconds, which is double the time of the pit stop. So they're sitting there 5 seconds doing nothing. And then they do the pit stop in 2.2 seconds and then he drives off. Well, when he pulled in, and I guess there's, they changed. It's not like, yes, it's all exciting. Well, thanks, B. Thanks for saying that. For Formula One, they change all 4 tires at the same time. So they have a jack. It's not really called a jack, but I call it a jack. They have something that sticks to the front of the car and they both lift up. So all 4 tires go, and then they change all 4 tires at the. That's why it's quick. I mean, NASCAR is 11 seconds, which is phenomenally fast now. It was about 13 or 14, and then they removed 2 people from the crew. So it's like that's only going to get way slow. Oh, plus they had to do 2 gas cans. Anyway, they did all these things to make it slower, and then they still kept getting faster and faster. So their 11 seconds is phenomenally fast, but they do 2 tires at a time, 2 on the left, 2 on the right. So that's what, Oh, plus gas is about split in half. So the time it takes to do 2 tires takes about 1 gas can, and 2 tires about the other gas can. So it's if perfectly done, it takes the same amount of time for both things. Neither one is waiting for the other. They finish at the exact same time within tenths of a second. So, so yes, it's all exciting. Cool. Thank you very much. So, anyway, so he came in, he was going to do a 5-second penalty, and his rear jack person put his jack under the car. And I didn't see him touch the car, but there's way too much going on for me to say I saw it or didn't I saw it. But either he touched his car before the 5 seconds, or he, before the 5 seconds were done, he touched it. Or I think what happened is he just got ready during the 5 seconds. So he was all ready to push the car up. And I don't think he touched the car, but it doesn't matter. So anyway, he got ready before the 5 seconds were up. So once he left, it took forever. Usually they talk about penalties immediately, but for some reason it took forever because they wanted to figure it out, whatever. So he got another 5-second penalty. So it's like, oh my goodness, he's finally doing well. He's accelerating. Could be Aston Martin, could be the number 2 team, which is unheard of. Aston Martin has been 6th, 7th, or 8th out of 10 for the last several years. So to be second that's light years. It's not even fathomable that might. So anyway, could be the number 2 team. Ferrari doesn't seem to be doing too well, but they might be number 2. Mercedes probably will not be number 2. Alpine is sucking so far. They were supposed to be 4th or 5th place. So Aston Martin. So anyway, he's doing all these things, and he gets 2 5-minute preventable 5 seconds. So anyway, George. So they get on the radio with George Hamilton. George, I put 2 names together. George Russell, and it's a couple laps left, and they said, "Hey George, you're currently 4.3 seconds behind him. Currently, he's going to get a 5-second delay. So you'll go ahead of him and you'll be on the podium." Podium's really important. With NASCAR, they care about the winner only. So they don't care who the top 3 are. Number 2 and 3 are the 1st and 2nd losers. That's all they are. But Formula One, they have podiums. IndyCar has podiums. IMSA, a lot of them have podiums. They kind of treat them like 1st, 2nd, 3rd is pretty good. I think they're pretty good. So anyway, so George Russell, who seemed to be doing well, and Lewis Hamilton was holding him back, and he got on the radio and said, "Guys, could you ask Lewis to not let me by, but my car's faster, so let me pass him, don't hold me back." So he got past Lewis, and he was doing really well. So so it's plus 4.3 seconds. So anyway, they tell Fernando Alonso, who's this fiery Latino, and he's known in the past, not this year and not even really last year, but he's known in the past for, cussing his engineers out, and he knows like 4 languages, so he can cuss in multiple languages. And, they asked for, what's wrong with the car? How can we improve? And he goes, it's all SHIT, but he uses all the real words, far more colorful than SHIT. And he would be like, "You effing idiot," I don't really like using that words, but he would just say, there's no give up. Don't fix my car. You are too unintelligent to fix my car. And so he's known for that. So anyway, he's matured now, and so far he's been giving excellent feedback to engineers. So anyway, he's pretty fiery. So with a couple of laps left, they say, Alonso, we've been docked another 5 minutes, and George is, George is 4.3 seconds within you. So you will go behind him and he'll be on the podium. So they said, please accelerate. And they didn't say that. They just said, so, do what you can. And boom, he was like, okay. He's like Terminator, he's like, okay, and he switches he's very passionate and emotional and Latino and stuff. But a lot of people describe him, especially recently, they say 75% of his driving is his head and 25% of it is the actual action. So he just switched into it and it became 4.3, 4.6, 4.7, 4.8. And it's like, get over 5 seconds, So, and I think he got over 5 seconds, I do believe, on the last lap. So it went from 4.8 with 2 laps to go. And on the last lap, he passed 5 seconds. And it's like, yes, don't, mess with him and have him lose a podium for these. And rules are rules. Rules are rules. I get why he had the 2 5 seconds, but if he can overcome them, why not overcome them? So he did. And, okay, that's enough. I will, let's see. Oh, I can't read that. Let me see if I can read it on the other screen. Anyway, so as you can tell, Fernando Alonso is plus 20.728 seconds and George Russell 25.866. So that's just over 5 seconds, 5.14 something, so George remained 4th and Alonso remained 3rd, even though he lost 5 more seconds. So he's really 25 points. So anyway, I always get amazed. I know Formula One does this and I need to stop being amazed, but I am amazed that 2 different drivers on the same team can always be right next to each other on the track. Why can't they have some variance between them? I don't get that. But as you can tell, 1st and 2nd is Red Bull, 4th and 5th is Mercedes, 6th and 7th is Ferrari. It's marginally unfulfilling for me. So anyway, Alonso's 3rd, Russell's 4th, Mercedes, Hamilton's 5th, Mercedes, Sainz is 6th, Ferrari, Leclerc is 7th. Leclerc qualified 2nd, which means he had a fast car. He was docked 10 points, so he started 12th. So he went up 5 positions. Now, Max started 15th and got up to 2nd. So Max went up 13 positions. Charles moved up 5 positions. That's a significant difference. One is a Superman and one is not a Superman. So that's Charles Leclerc. Let me go back over and see if there's any. Okay, there's looks like I'm okay on comments and stuff. So okay, so we've got Ocon, which is so Alpine is 8 and 9. Again, I'm blown away. 2 different drivers have the same performance. And it's Alpine who preseason and during testing, there was talk that they might be the number 3 car and they might compete with either Ferrari or Mercedes, whoever doesn't show up, and they were going to be number 3 or 4 or something. And toward the end of testing and the first race, they didn't show up. They were horrible. So anyway, they're 8th and 9th. That's a pretty good showing. Number 10 is Haas Ferrari. There's Gene Haas. So, and then there's a jump there. So 10th and 12th is Magnussen and Hülkenberg, Haas. And then 11th and 14th is, I'm doing them by teams. So 11th is Tsunoda, who I love Yuki Tsunoda. And 14th, Nick de Vries, who is from the Netherlands, same country as Max. My same dude who taught me about Formula One told me about Nick years ago. And he was like, he's great. He's going to be there someday. And I'm like, well, everybody's going to be, everybody wants to be in Formula One someday. But he was right. He was here. So, okay. So 11th and 14th is AlphaTauri. And then we're getting toward the bottom. Of course, it's different people. So, Zhou Guan Yu, he's 13th in this race, and last week he was about 13th or 15th or whatever, but he had the fastest lap. So that was really, plus he's Alfa Romeo, that's pretty amazing that he had the fastest lap. Anyway, he's 13th, and the Alfa Romeo is 18th. Valtteri Bottas down a lap, plus 1 lap. Then I talked about Nick DeVries already. So Oscar Piastri is McLaren and Lando Norris. So that's 15th and 17th is Piastri and Norris. Norris had 20th last week. He's supposedly the really strong driver. McLaren's not doing that well. Piastri showed up. I think he qualified 8th or 7th or 9th or I don't know, but really well. And then Logan Sargent is Williams. He's the only American driver. I think he's the first American driver in like 27 years or something like that. Haas F1 team is from America too, and that's the first American driver company and first American Formula One team in 30 plus years. And Logan is about the same thing. I think it's 25, 30 years or something. So anyway, I'm not really super loyal to America, but it's kind of cool that he's Williams should always be 19th and 20th. 19th and 20th forever and forever and forever and forever. And he is 16th. And that's light years. To go from 19th to 16th is phenomenal. Plus, Alexander Albon is 19th. Now he's NC. The bottom two are not classified. That means they didn't finish. DNF did not finish. But it also, there's other things. It's not just that you didn't finish, but there's other ways to not classify. So there's no points. He's not, he's not on the board at all. So, and Valtteri. So I talked about Albon. Oh, and Lance Stroll, that's too bad. He was the first one to not finish, and he's Aston Martin. So Fernando Alonso not only qualified third, but started second, and he podium third, and he overcame 2 5-second penalties. He did all of that without a partner. So it was pretty cool. I mean, that was let's see. And so anyway, that's the results. And what do we got? 127. Boy, I guess I didn't want to talk too long. Yeah, I'll skip the other stuff. Maybe I'll do let me go off screen. I'll try to talk about the games. So yeah, I'll probably go to New York City for the Thursday evening and Saturday evening games for March Madness for the basketball. There are NASCAR is going to be at COTA. I'm not a big fan of NASCAR recently, but I love COTA, so I want to probably do some. Plus, I think they have practice and qualifying and racing, so I like to cover all those kind of things. But I'm going to do basketball, so I'm going to somehow fit it in. Plus, I didn't even realize that Formula E for Formula Electric, it's the same as Formula One, but different. It's an electric engine. What's cool about, and I'm not really a motorhead, and I'm not into loud noises, and it's weird I picked this sport, but Formula E is an electric engine, and what's pretty unique, everybody's like, oh, I need a what's it called, a carburetor. I want a carburetor. I want to hear rum 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 rum. But of course, it's really been fuel injection for the last. For the cars we buy, it's been fuel injection for 20, 30, 40 years or something like that. But for NASCAR, it's been fuel injection for like 6 years. They had carburetors until pretty recent. I don't know what year it is. But so anyway, Formula E, anyway, the unique thing about an electric engine is there is no acceleration. It's immediate torque. It is immediate. It's immediate. There is no acceleration. So when you go 0 to 100, you go from 0 to 100 miles an hour. There's no acceleration. It's immediate. So it's people are like, oh, we got our carburetors and stuff, but they ought to see how fast these electric cars are. So anyway, Formula E, if I had unlimited money or any money, and if I would get a job, which I won't, but if I could pick one series to follow and none, if I had to pick one and I couldn't follow any other, it would be Formula E. Now it's not in America, so I don't have the support of the Americans with Disabilities Act, and I wouldn't get reasonable accommodations through that. And it's not a federal law that gives me rights and stuff. They're international. They're based in London, and they go to many countries. So it wouldn't be, I don't think my cat, I mean, I would try like hell to, get my cat to these races, but I can't even imagine from 0 to 100. Yeah, it's amazing. And I'm not, anyway, I was going to say I'm not an engineer, which I am not an engineer, but I got a bachelor's of science in computer science. And because of my drinking and drugging, I fell short of a master's of engineering of computer science, or engineering science. I'm sorry. So I was in that arena, but I burnt a lot of synapse. So I'm not really an engineer, so I don't really know the words, but it's basically no acceleration. It's immediate torque. It's those things that, there's no acceleration. So yeah, it is pretty intense. It's a plus you don't hear anything. Like, I mean, for Formula E, there is a noise. You do hear the cars. It's a whir. It's like a, it is a whir. It's like it's a whir. Now, in NASCAR, they started having electric cars being the pace cars. So the first time, the force must be wild and unnatural. Their body is, they're like everybody, even an astronaut, astronaut that goes from 0 to whatever they go to, 65,000 miles per hour or whatever they go to, your body is, they kind of get used to the acceleration. So these drivers they're used to the acceleration. So yeah, you're right. I'm sure they get used to it though. Yeah, but I'm sure it's a rush, and I'm sure they're testosterone and they're machismo. And, I bet it's I bet every single one of them says, man, I wanted carburetors and I didn't believe in electric, but try one of them. Try one, drive one, and then complain about carburetors. And it's now been around for 9 years. Anyway, it's I don't know where it is. I didn't do the schedule yet. I'm trying to look for the schedule. It's way over there, so I can't reach it. But I think they have, yes, I do know for sure. They have 16 races this year. But when the schedule first came out, they had either 15 or 16 races. But I think 5 of those are different now. And the 5 of the 16 now are different. They changed. They're, COVID and, just all sorts of things. So, yeah, you laughing about just try the car. Don't say you're too macho and you need a carburetor, but try it. See if you don't wet your pants the first times. Then we'll see how cool you are. So no, I don't think they'll wet their pants, but they will be surprised, for sure. But anyway, let me look real quick. So, okay, it is race March 25th, Sao Paulo. It's going to be in Sao Paulo, Brazil, which is a big motorsports city. Sao Paulo is where Ayrton Senna, which is, again, one of the GOATs. He's probably the GOAT. If everybody in the world had to vote on one GOAT for Formula One, it would really be Ayrton Senna. Michael Schumacher might nudge him out a little bit, but that's emotional. He's in vegetative state, so I think he might win. Ayrton Senna is the GOAT. He is the GOAT, and he's from Sao Paulo. So anyway, it's huge. So anyway, it's race number 6. So that they started their pre-testing was Valencia, which is Spain, but not really. Valencia is in that other. I'm learning so much through motorsports. There are like 2 or 3 or 4 cities that are really countries. And Valencia is in one of those cities that's really a country. And I think 2 of the cities are in Spain. And they're not really in Spain. They're their own country. I wish I could say them off the top of my head. What I'm saying is correct, but I'm not describing. So Valencia is one of them. Wherever Valencia is, that's really a country, even though people think it's a city in Spain. It is not. So Valencia is preseason. Mexico City, which, you know, my $5 crack hotels. That is actually, I'm sorry, that is the Mexico City I wanted to go to. Formula One goes to Mexico right before COTA in October, and I might do that because Mexico's flights are so cheap. Especially now, I guess, with all the killings and stuff. I'm sure those prices will go down, but at least now, I'm sure in October they'll go back up and stuff. But anyway, Mexico City, this is the one. So that was the first race, and in Saudi Arabia, because they have millions of dollars, so they're buying all these races. Diriyah in Saudi Arabia was race 2 and 3. They had a double header, and then India. Hyderabad. I don't know how to say it. And then that was 4, and then 5. I didn't write it down clear enough. I don't know what 5th was. And then Sao Paulo was 6. So no crack hotels. Okay, marijuana hotels. But there's a big difference. Crack hotels would be $25. Marijuana would be $50 or way more than that. So, okay, I'll try to figure it out. So anyway, Formula E is this weekend. So that's going to be, anyway, it's, as always, I want to do a million things and I want to do everything, and that probably won't happen. But, so that's for that. And then I thought I was going to try to, that's better. That was your suggestion. I didn't think of it. I think during that conversation, I think I was stuck. I think my mind was like, what? There's only crack hotels. That's the only way to get a cheap. What? That's the only way to get a cheap hotel. So I couldn't break that thought process. And I think you're the one that brought up marijuana. I'm like, oh, wow. Okay. But again, it'll be $25 a night and $75 a night. It'll be a difference. There's less guns and less stuff. It is Mexico. There's going to be guns everywhere. But anyway, yeah, it's funny. You're the one who brought it up. I was stuck, arrested. You arrested my brain. My brain was stuck. So, oh, come on. There's got to be weed hotels, right? Well, I mean, I think there's 2 different definitions of a weed hotel. I mean, I'm saying a crack hotel, meaning where most of the red light district are around that hotel and they rent the hotel per hours. So that's what I'm really referring to as a crack hotel. And that might be one of the words we can't use on YouTube. Sorry about that, YouTube. But anyway, but these days, in America, I don't know what the numbers are, but it's amazing. I'm from Vermont. Vermont and California and Colorado, we were the first ones to make, pot legal, and then it was medicinal legality, and then it was recreational. And, I don't know what the numbers are, but it's astronomical. I think it's probably 25 states or 35 states that recreationally is legal. So I'm sure you can say weed hotels like it's a weed-friendly hotel. And that's not what I want. I want a weed hotel, meaning a lower class clientele, maybe rent it by the hour. I need cheap. So anyway, I think there's two different definitions of weed hotel. Again, they are both made up in my mind on the fly right now. I don't know if you can look up, what's that called? Wikipedia. I don't think you can type in weed hotels and it'll come up with two different definitions, or what's that, slang dictionary or whatever, so yeah, I don't think it exists. I just came up with those. But so anyway, I was going to show the what is it? Let me see here. So I got that. That's not the one I want to see. And that's it. So let's go look for that one. So I think I'm going to weed hotel sounds safer than crack hotels. Now, again, I'm dating myself by saying crack hotels. I assume there's a whole new thing. Just be safe, Joe. Yeah. I need to win the lottery. I don't always make the smartest decisions. But what is it? March 20th. If you told me January 1st, that on March 20th I would not have gone to a motorsports event yet, there's no way in heck I would have believed you. There's no way in heck I would have believed you. I would have been, you are so full of it. I'm going to be at 6 or 7 or 8 events by March 20th. So far, my plan is not to go to these things. I get in trouble. I've gotten in trouble. I need to modify that. I had to figure out different ways to do it. So, the best thing is I don't go to these events, but, I get excited about Formula One and I get excited about Formula E and even NASCAR, even though I have a hate relationship, which is one of the words I don't like. Hey, I did enter some, there's always, you can enter these words that things will be screened if it has the word in it, which I've never done that on Twitter, but I just did it somewhere. I forget where, YouTube or something. And I added like 5 words and I'm like, that's, come on. I'm not going to list 37 words that people can't say. Just if they say it, I'll talk about it when they say it, but so anyway, so so anyway, it is March 20th. I haven't been to a race yet. The big challenge for me will be Formula One at Miami, which I think is May 5th, 6th, 7th. So in about 5 weeks, I'll be getting really nervous and really antsy and go, F it. I have got to go to Miami. I don't care what happens. I'm going to just go, which is safe. Last year I went, it was the most phenomenal thing in the world. And I'm let's just say I'm usually pretty near to my car. Let's just say that. Why does that keep coming up? Come on, stop doing that. I don't know where to put my cursor. Keeps messing things up. So, okay. So, but anyway, let's just say I hang out near my car a lot, and I hang out near Walmart a lot, and I hang out across the street from Walmart, which was a 24-hour fitness. It was called 24-hour fitness. And that ended up to be the world's most perfect mixture of everything. At least initially, I could hang out near Walmart. Let's just say near and about and stuff for like 9 days. And it was phenomenal. And then I got in trouble, like there was like 2 days left and I got in trouble, and he was like, I'm going to call the cops and you'll never be able to come back here again. And I'm like, I bought ice. And he's like, I don't care what you buy, you're going to be. And I'm like, okay. So anyway, I made 2 more days. I still hung out and all sorts of stuff. But then 24-hour fitness, I go in and I'm like, hey, can I just be honest with you? I just need to find a shower. And do y'all have a trial period? Can I just shower for a week here? And they're like, no, but do you have insurance? And I'm like, well, I'm disabled. And they're like, do you have Medicaid? Do you have Medicare? And I'm like pulling out all my cards and I'm like, I don't know. So they start typing these things in and stuff. And, I got a free membership. To 24-hour fitness that was good for every location in the country just because of, and I forget, I think it was because of Medicare, which is usually the very poor, horrible insurance, although it's national, and Medicaid is phenomenal and it covers everything, but it's by state only. So I think that's the reason that didn't qualify. But so, I mean, I was just like, can you just let me come in here and shower for free? I'm nearby. He's like, no, yeah, it was really neat. I mean, and at first, I seemed like a homeless bum, but then after a while, he was like trying to help me. And he was like, here, let me get your card and let me type it in. And he spent 25 minutes on, they had like, you have to code CODE. You have to code what the account was. And, there's like credit card, cash, gift card, there's like 10 of those. And then there was like 95 that said Medicare, Vermont, but for males, Medicare, so I was like, so he kept coding it. And so anyway, he got it. And, he gave me a hard card with my picture on it within like, once he got it all figured out, within 10 minutes, he's given my, and I'm like, what is going on? So I can legally shower here? He's like, you can do anything. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to work out. I'm showering. So, they had saunas and jacuzzis. And again, when I belong to a pool, that's usually, I don't exercise. So I usually do the saunas and jacuzzi. So it was really cool. So anyway, everybody, now that I'm on YouTube Live and I'm trying to figure out how to get a really cheap RV, people are like, well, this is how we travel the country. They're like, we use Planet Fitness, which, by the way, in my very small town, there is a Planet Fitness, and I've wanted to join it only for showers around the country. And it's one of the bigger chains. And so just an hour ago or less, I was researching, Madison Square Garden this weekend for the basketball. And I was probably going to find some parking that was, not outrageously expensive. And it was for 2.5 days, but I didn't have in and out privileges, which I think they mean moving the car. I think I can walk in there anytime and I can eat and sleep and stuff like that. And I can feed my cat. I think I can go in and out, but the car can't go in and out. At least I'm hoping that's true. But it was pretty extravagant. But I was like, well, since I can't move the car, I already figured out, I didn't think about, Trump, and, I don't want to talk about politics, but, Trump, is supposed to be not arrested tomorrow, but, he can pick a time where he checks himself in to New York. And they, it's still unsure whether he does it in Florida or New York, but I'm like, I'm going to be in New York. And Saturday, Friday, I have nothing to do. And that's a business day. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I might be. So anyway, I'm 2.9 miles away from that. And I don't know if, when I go to New York, I can walk 17 miles a day because it's the coolest city to walk in. So I, of course, would walk 2.9 miles there and 2.9 and cover the event, as I usually try to cover everything. So anyway, so since I haven't bought this parking yet because it's really expensive, but it's 2.5 days. And so it kind of makes it okay. It's really, really, really expensive. But, and I thought it was so expensive, although, it was the cheapest by $100 compared to all the others. But I'm like, I hope I have in and out privileges. And it said, you want to make sure you have no in and out privileges. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So anyway, I typed, what are the closest gyms to, Madison Square Garden, and the second or third closest was this branch that's right here. So again, it's not like if I only go to my location, I think I can join for $10 a month. I do believe, which I don't want to work out and I don't need to shower here. So I'm not going to join. But so $10 a month, or I think you pay 50, and then you can go to any location in the country. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'm signed. And I don't even know if I can join that for a month and then cancel. That would be cool, because then I would just do it for, Madison Square Garden. I'll see. I mean, it's like, but again, once I spend that money, I'm like, I better start going to, motorsports events or whatever. But anyway, so, yeah, that's how the Madison Square Garden is going to probably work. Anyway, what I was going to show, because I was going to finish up, because I didn't want to talk forever. Sorry, guys. Thank you for being here. So that's the upcoming schedule, and it kind of has teams and rankings and time and channel, I think. I'm not looking at it, or I can't read it too well. So let me go full screen layout, and then I'll go off screen so I can read it. So, okay. So 2023 March Madness live streams, TV time schedules, all times Eastern. So Thursday, March 23rd, this is the start of the Sweet 16 round. Thursday and Friday is the Sweet 16 round, 16 teams, 8 games, and then there's 8 winners, and that becomes the Elite 8, which is the next round. So, okay, Sweet 16. Number 3, Kansas State versus number 7, Michigan State, 6:30 p.m. TBS network. That is New York City. Number 4, UConn versus number 8, Arkansas, 7:15 CBS. That's somewhere else. Number 4, Tennessee versus number 9, Florida Atlantic, 9 p.m. TBS. That's New York City. So that's the 2 games I would see on Thursday. And then the 4th game on Thursday is number 2, UCLA versus number 3, Gonzaga, 9:45 p.m. CBS. So it goes TBS, CBS, TBS, CBS. And that's true for the next day. TBS, CBS, TBS, CBS. And then the next day, Saturday, is TBS, TBS. And then I think from Sunday on, everything is CBS. But I'll get down there. So Friday, March 24th. So anyway, Sweet 16 is Thursday and Friday, 23rd and 24th. So the second day, Friday, number 1, Alabama. There's 4, I think they're called regions, but there's 4 of them. So there's 4 number 1 teams out of the 64, and then 4 16th seed teams, because it's 64 divided by 4 is 16. So it's 1st through 16th 4 times. So there's 4 number 1s. 2 of the number 1s were eliminated, one by a number 16 team, which is no longer in the tournament, but they beat a number 1 team. Now we only have 2 number 1s left. Anyway, number 1, Alabama versus number 5, San Diego State, 6:30 p.m. TBS network. Number 1, Houston versus number 5, Miami, 7:15 p.m. CBS. Number 6, Creighton versus number 15, Princeton. I love upsets. Number 15 is the lowest ranked in these games. If you go up to Thursday, the 3rd, 2nd, and 1st game, you'll see 9th, 8th, 7th. That's the next 3 lowest. And then number 6 is somewhere. Oh, in the same game. So Creighton 15, Princeton 15 is playing Creighton number 6. So 6, 7, 8, 9. ESPN is making all these notifications. I don't know what they're saying. So anyway, so number 6, Creighton versus number 15, Princeton. That's who I hope wins everything. Of course, they won't, but at least they can go further. 9 p.m. TBS. Number 2, Texas versus number 3, Xavier, 9:45 p.m. CBS. And then for Saturday, for me, I have games on Thursday, and then it skips a day, which is Friday would be off. Not off. I mean, there's 4 games I could cover that's not in New York City, but Friday might be the time that I will run around Manhattan trying to see if Trump is near the courthouse, see if I can interview him. So anyway, so Thursday is my first round. Saturday is my second round, but they're all to be determined. TBD, 6 p.m. TBS. TBD, 8:30 TBS. Sunday is, so it goes Thursday, Saturday, and Friday, Sunday. So Friday, Sunday is not me. Thursday, Saturday, that's half of me. the Kansas State, Michigan State, Tennessee, and Florida Atlanta. I have no connection to those teams. It's all good, Joe. Nothing to apologize about. Well, thank you. I'm not sure what I apologize about, but I do it a lot. So thank you so much. Anyway, usually when, anyway, I wasn't the greatest student, and I had different priorities. I was, an alcoholic and addict and stuff. And so studying, I had challenges. The disabilities that I qualified with in 2011, I had when I was 5 years old. So obviously all my college age years, I had those challenges. Grade school and high school, I went to private schools and they don't have IEPs, so they don't care about your being disabled. They just think you're lazy and unfocused and unmotivated and all that stuff, which I heard my whole life. So but college, certainly I had challenges and stuff. Anyway, I went to like 8. I mean, I was associated directly, just me, not siblings. I was directly associated with about 6 or 7 or 8 colleges. So when the March Madness comes out and I see all the people invited, usually 3 or 4 or 5 of those schools are invited. I'm like, oh, wow, I could like that school and that school and that school. And I don't really have alma maters because I flunked out of several of them and I only got a degree from one of them. But yeah, I mean, I'm not loyal to them because I didn't have a good time and they don't care too much about me either. But anyway, I would see a lot of them. So anyway, what I'm trying to say is that the schools that are in New York City this weekend, Thursday, there will be 4 teams. And then on Sunday, 2 of those 4 will be playing on Sunday. So Saturday, I'm sorry, Thursday and Saturday. It's Thursday and Saturday. And so I have no attachment to you. Obviously, you can tell Princeton I like because they're 15th. Oh, wait, that's not my city, right? That's not my city. Yeah, Princeton. Yeah. That's Friday. So, okay, Kansas State, Michigan State, Tennessee, Florida Atlantic. I have no connection to any of them. I do like Florida Atlantic because they're number 9, although they beat FSU or FDU, who was the number 16 seed. So that was a bummer. It's too bad that they lost, which of course they're not going to win the championship, but it's cool to see them go far. And so anyway, if I had to pick a team, it'd be number 9. I'm not a big fan of Tennessee, but I think that's because of going to Bristol Motor Speedway, and I'm not a big fan of football, and it seems bigger than God there, and things like that. Michigan State I don't like because of the gymnastics coach that messed with all those little girls. And Kansas State, I don't think I have any history with them. So even though Kansas State is 3 and Michigan State is 7, I usually cheer for the underdog. I'll probably go for Kansas State, but I'm neutral. I'm media. I'm going to cover it. So I love all 64 of my children the same. So, boy, News Nation is showing a lot about Idaho 4 for some reason, and showing social media adds new dimension to families' grief. Yeah, I don't know what's going on, but I think all that stuff was released, so I guess people are starting to see what all the. That's something else. Plus, that's the end of June. So if I make it to the end of June without going to a motorsports event, I don't want to say either way, but if I haven't gone to motorsports by June 15th or 10th or something, I probably will go to Idaho. Now, last time I went to Idaho, I was showing up 30 minutes before the court. I don't think I'll do that. I think it starts on the 26th. I think I'll schedule 5 days to get out there. Now I want to get out there 3 days early, so that's the 18th. I'd probably leave on the 18th. But I don't want to. There's Buster. Buster's on TV. Why are they showing all these things? That must be Banfield. Is it 10 o'clock? 10:24. So Banfield's showing all the reruns. Buster. I guess they're bringing up that David, I don't know, another autopsy for, what's his name? David someone. It's not David. You know the person that's found in the middle of the road with his shoes on with a blunt, That's why Buster's in the news. Sounds like he's a person of interest still or whatever. I hope he is. That was a weird situation. Just make sure if you go to Idaho again, you're prepared. Oh man, it was so tough. Now I mean, I do need to preface that I have challenges with everything. I have challenges with sleeping and breathing and eating and having fun and relaxing with my cat, which I don't relax. Yeah, I have challenges with everything. So, and I don't think that's something I'm proud of, or, I mean, I probably embrace it more than the average bear, but I don't, if I could work out of that, that would be nice. But, I have challenges with everything. So I think Idaho was just, it was just a little too much. I got, I was concerned that I was sick at the end. That I thought it was, my usual kidney stones, which I've had before. And I know the feeling, and I thought I had the same feeling. So that was a big concern. But, I think the winter, these were really cold nights, I wrote to that Facebook, the Facebook group, and I was like, hey, I'm going to just go out there. And everybody it's like everything else. 95% of the comments were good and positive and asking questions. And then those 2 or 3 or 4 people out of 270,000 or however many are in the group, those 2 or 3 people are like, you should leave them alone and blah, blah, blah. So that, certainly tainted my brain a little bit, but, I'm going to get that again when I write to that group again before I leave. But I didn't fully, and I guess I probably, anyway, I didn't get all the funding to the gas. So I think that affected me too, because it was very, it was $800 worth of gas, and I didn't get all of that. So it was, anyway, I'm not going to say, oh, now I got to figure it out, it's going to be easy and stuff. I'm saying I have problems with everything. I just anything, if my daughter calls up and says, oh, Dad, I miss you so much, let's go out to dinner, I can't wait to see you, and it'd be great, and I'm buying dinner, don't worry, and I'll pick you up, you don't need to drive, and I'll come in and say hi to your cat, and it could be the world's most perfect night, and I'd be still like, well, I got to do this and got to do that. And, I should have shaved the beard and, whatever. I have challenges with everything, which, can be me, or it could be my, OCD, or it could be my disabilities, or, I'm always getting feedback. And so, some of the feedback is, maybe you're not, maybe you are your own worst enemy, which I think is valid, and that's a good point. But it goes further than that. That they think that I'm setting up. You can understand. Oh, okay, cool, thanks. I would have guessed you can probably understand that. But anyway, they would say that. What would they say? I'm even forgetting the topic. But they would say. You set yourself up for failure, so it's not just saying that you're your worst enemy, which can kind of mean the same thing, but it's just like, wow, I'm me, and I'm not positive, I'm not always positive, I'm not perfect, I'm human, I'm disabled, I say things before I think about it and things like that. Anyway, I don't want to get on that topic. That'll be getting back to Lyndon. We don't want to get back to Lyndon. By the way, Lyndon, how you doing? Have you been here for 2 hours? Lyndon Notbanes. Are you still here? It's good to see you. And you can spectate, you can view, you can listen, whatever you want. I just appreciate you being here. So, anyway, so did I go over this? I think I did all of that. So yeah, that was for March Madness, which again, it felt so weird. Like, Sunday was not a good day for me. I hate decisions, and I always wake up, I have an early alarm, and then I hit the snooze and whatever. So I was like, okay, well, if I go to Albany, I have to get up at 10. And if I stay home and I go live, I have to get up at about 10 or 10:30, same time, and anyway, I got up at 11:30. I'm like, what are you doing? This is, and, I tried to, I hit the road and I wrote to my community on YouTube, which I still don't, I don't know how to do things easily. I don't know how to go, okay, let's write the community. I know where to go. I know how to do it. I know how to type. I know how to send it. It's going to go. It's not a comment. Like for me, a lot of times it ends up being a comment of a comment. And I'm like, no, I want a new post, so I'm like, so anyway, I got onto both my pages and both communities. And I said, hey, sorry. And I did it, I did an audio and, Audible or whatever it is. And so I spoke it with no editing. I spoke it and sent it. So, it probably isn't super clear, but I don't think there is huge typos, but it was, I say, and that always comes out, I am. And I'm like, I didn't say I am, but I say, see that, always comes out as I am. I got to stop saying, but, or, either one of them. I'm going to drink again. So let me try to go through my tabs real quick. I think I'm getting toward the end here. So I'm on StreamYard right now. And then YouTube Studio for JoeHart. And then YouTube channel for, what's his name? Francis Assistant. And then TikTok. Sorry, guys, I'm a little behind on TikTok, but I'll probably still do those in waves. There'll probably be specific days that I'll do more than others. And TikTok is I come up with an idea for a short, which I think my next short will be about Coda or Kimi Räikkönen. I think I'll do Kimi, really. That's the stud I think about at Coda. It might be a Rodney Sandstorm, the alter ego of Taylor. Begins Randy. Anyway, it begins with the R. I wrote it earlier, but so I come up with a short topic and then I create it, which it's very time consuming, and then I create it and then I send it to those four things, which is YouTube JoeHart, YouTube Francis, Facebook page, not profile, but Facebook page, and then Instagram, which I can do Instagram within StreamYard, but just as a short. Randy Sandstorm. There's that alter ego. Yoo-hoo! Thank you so much. Randy Sandstorm. He's goofy. He is a goofy person. I don't like name calling, and I don't like words like goofy, but he's quirky. He's idiosyncratic. He is quirky. He's idiosyncratic, which I describe my disabilities as quirks and idiosyncrasies. I know people probably don't like that. They're like, well, what's your disability? Don't call them that. And I'm like, well, that's, for me, disabilities equals quirks and idiosyncrasies, which I think are about the exact same thing. And the quirks and idiosyncrasies equals my disabilities. I don't know if that makes sense. He's cool. Yeah. I should probably start calling them cool. B, you're probably right. You probably even just saw a video of him. But he dominates in IMSA, and his father owns the team, and his father they wreck cars, and anyway, they do what they got to do. So anyway, it'll be cool to see him at Coda. So anyway, when I do this Instagram thing, I haven't figured out how any of these platforms can be shared to TikTok, and I haven't figured out the reverse of doing a TikTok and sharing it with all these other platforms. And I think one of my viewers that's great at research, I think he found a link to teach me this stuff, and he anyway, it doesn't it seems like I can share my TikToks elsewhere. but I can't share elsewhere to TikToks, which is bizarre. I don't know if you're on these platforms, but when you do a tweet, it says, who would you like to share this with? And they list, Snapchat and Instagram and LinkedIn and Facebook. And, so they're all pretty compatible with each other. Not exactly precisely everybody you want to share with, but there's quite a few. And I think TikTok is made in China, and China's a lot like Russia. And I think people just don't like them. And it appears also, I mean, the other part about it, I think we're just mistrusting of China, but I think it's also true that in TikTok, your information is gleaned much easier. So when you set up an account and it's got emails, and I don't know if it has credit cards, but I don't know about credit cards. I shouldn't even mention that. But the information's gleaned much easier than Facebook and Instagram. I think there's reasons that they don't want to be compatible with TikTok. TikTok doesn't necessarily want to be compatible with them. And anyway, so I have to repeat it. I make the exact same tape. I want to say the exact same thing in 60 seconds, but I can't share it. So I have to redo the exact same thing. And I don't, I use different voice inflection and I use different words. And I'm like, I don't like doing that. But so anyway, that's what all my TikToks are. If you see a short, a TikTok will come pretty shortly afterwards. That was a big talking about TikTok. But that's I need to go and TikTok is my goal, one of my goals. It appears by all accounts for me that TikTok is the quickest and easiest ways to monetize. I need 1,000 followers. My followers are a bit, static. They're not moving much in the last couple of days and weeks and otherwise, but I'm hoping I can start picking those. I'm at 652, which I got 640 of those within 5 months of doing motorsports, NASCAR. So I got over 110 per month, so that whatever that is, 4 a day. But I'd love to. I need 1,000 followers, then I can go live, then I can monetize. So, until I find out, that I'm selling my soul to China, which I guess people think that with their information, they can glean all that information from you. Anyway, as I said, I want a brand new RV, and if they want to get me a brand new RV, I'm probably available. So, okay, Twitter, I have, oh man, someday I want to talk about Twitter's Spaces. Spaces is, I don't know if you're on Twitter and stuff, but Spaces is a fairly new. I talk about things, but I'm like, I don't know if it's a month old or 5 years old, but Spaces are fairly new to Twitter. I would say 4 months to 2 years. Somewhere around there, they're pretty new. They're an audio thing. And I don't know a bunch about it, but I would basically describe it as a room, an audio room that someone hosts, mostly Brian Enton is a big one on there. So he hosts whatever I just called the thing. What are they called? Sounds. Spaces. So he hosts the spaces, a space, one singular space, and then people can come and listen and, and listen. It's all audio. You don't see stuff, and you don't, you're not tweeting, and they're not tweeting, they're talking. So, anyway, I have done one, and it was fairly quick, and I had one person in my audience, and it was nice and cozy and stuff, but it was a topic that they were concerned with. So we had a pretty lively dialogue. It was pretty nice. And you can either have them type in questions, or they can talk as a guest, or anyway. So I would say in the last 2 weeks or 3 weeks or less, Spaces have just exploded. They seem to be super popular on Twitter. So I guess I want to revisit that and see if I if there's any purpose for, spaces. I keep forgetting the word. I forget the name on everything, but so that's spaces. But every time I go and I look at my notifications, I always have one notifications because I get a ton of notifications. So every minute I get, 200 notifications. So there's always that, but there might be a second or third one, rarely. But now I get 2 or 3 or 4 notifications, which are all spaces. So I'm like, what are they doing? So that's spaces. Someday I'll figure it out. NASCAR, don't know what that is, but Joey Logano's number 1. And then that's Formula One, the results. And then that's Formula One, the the driver standings. And that's the constructor standings. And then that's the schedule for this week. That can probably be most of tomorrow. Final 4. Although I'm probably going to leave Thursday because I might have to push it to the end, but I want to leave Wednesday. I'd like to leave Wednesday, but it's challenging. You're always finding that truck stop. So okay, that's Final 4. That's NASCAR on TV. That's a good schedule. Maybe that'll be tomorrow. And then the basketball I did, and Madison Square Garden parking. Yeah, I found a place for 2.5 days. Is that, Thursday, Friday, Saturday? For 2.5 days. Thursday to Friday, Friday to Saturday, and then 11:30 a.m. to 11:30 p.m. 2.5 days. That's really expensive. $125 was the cheapest by over $100 for 2.5 days. Ooh, golly. Okay, so that's all my tabs. I keep saying I'm going to do shorter and shorter and shorter streams, and that's just not true. I probably need to just stop mentioning that, and maybe that will become. I'm not a big fan of, it's just organic. It just happens, but I'll use it. So if I stop mentioning it, it might just happen organically. I hope that someday I can do 20, 30-minute streams for some topics, 50 to 60 minutes for some topics, and then rarely do an hour and a half or an hour and 3/4 for some topics. But yeah, that's kind of what I would like to be doing. But I'm not there. Thank you, B, for the emojis, the laughing or smiling. So thank you very much. I appreciate that. So anyway, I think that's going to be it. Maybe I'll shout out to my platforms again. Is that what it's called? Destinations. I'm going to shout out my 8 destinations, which are platforms. So thank you very much to all the live viewers. Thank you very much for all the comments and all the interaction. I love engaging. That's what I like to do with people. Thank you for the spectators. And Lyndon, is so good to see you. Thank you for being here, Lyndon. You're a rock star in a different way. Lyndon, not Baines. No. I bet someday he will be Baines. We can probably ask about his middle name every time. I guess I blew that. I think there's a possibility that his middle name might be revealed someday. So we can probably question his middle name, more than. Anyway, I didn't think that far into the future. So, Lyndon, not Baines. It should be a hashtag. I can do a. Let's see. Is that person on Twitter? No. Is that person on TikTok? No. Damn, that's the. Lyndon, not Baines. Yeah, I think it could be a hashtag for sure. All right, Joe, it was a great stream. I will talk to you soon. Thank you. So Lyndon, not Baines. So anyway, thank you for all the spectators and stuff. And thank you to the live streams. Thank you for comments resident to here in StreamYard. Thank you for comments resident to each platform or destination. And again, shout out and thank all those Facebook page, Facebook profile. I have 2 that haven't figured out the differences, but I have both of them. LinkedIn profile, my 2 YouTube pages, JoeHart, my original, PwD's 8641, and then Frederick no, what's his name? Francis Assistant hyphen NK1GC. I think don't quote me on that, but something like that. And then Twitch. Someday I'll know what Twitch is all about, but thank you. You all are loyal. Thanks for coming back. And in Twitter, I've been successfully broadcasting to Twitter. I mean, they still can't comment. There's a lot of challenges between StreamYard and Twitter, and they openly say they don't get along with each other. But I have successfully been streaming to 2 Twitters for a week or more, because I finally did, remedy that. I don't want to go into details or anything, but I did finally remedy that. My first account still doesn't. I need to figure out why it's incompatible. But anyway, something will happen. Okay, enough about those. As usual, I'll hit end broadcast twice. First one, I'll count out 3, 2, 1, hit it. And then the next one, I have to hit it again. I go 3, 2, 1 and hit it. And I have never checked the end of my video. When am I going to check the end of my video? Anyway, the second end broadcast, I count down 3, 2, 1 and hit it. And then it takes a while. It goes 1 second, 2 second, 3 second, and then it turns off. One time it took like 9 seconds, but other than that, it takes 2 or 3 or 4 seconds. But I don't know if that's true. Like in Meerkat and Periscope, I think in all platforms, what you think is happening in front of you doesn't really happen in real life. So I want to one day check the end of my videos to see if it takes 3 seconds or if they're hearing me after it goes off. And I mean, I've heard, one of the streams that I usually mention by name, which I probably should stop doing that these days, but there's one stream that I really like to go to initially and is very popular and stuff. But once or twice, I heard them talking backstage after the stream ended. So they ended the stream and we kept hearing their voice. And I'm like, wow, they don't know that. So I was like, getting onto, Twitter and email. And I was like, we hear you talking. We hear you talking. We hear you talking. So, anyway, there's a delay. It shows you one thing, but it's not really doing it. So anyway, I want to see the end of my video someday to see if that works. Anyway, after it does officially end, or so I think, my comments will stay open. I'll check the 8 destinations or platforms. And then when I hit leave studio, then the comments will be done. So phew, let's just say thank you. I think I'll stick with 4 E's. I think that's the way I spell your name. But B really is like 18 E's. So thank you, B, and everyone. Baines, not Baines. And Lyndon. Can I say no? I better not do the initials right. Yeah. I think the initials will be the death of me. I'll just say Lyndon. But I'll forget to type that every time. So thank you, B, and everybody, and Lyndon. You're welcome. So thank you, B, and everybody, and Lyndon. Lyndon, not Baines. We'll do a hashtag. Oh, I got an error from JoeHart Invisible Disabilities Advocacy. Is it over to? No, I don't know. Wait a moment and try again. Well, I'm not going to retype it, but anyway, I guess it only posted at 3 locations. So okay, that's to finish that. So okay, thank you, B. I'll see you later. It was good. Everything in the last 12 hours have been really nice. Really cool. Being, so it's been cool. So thanks. Okay, so I'm going to hit end broadcast in 3, 2, 1. So that's it. Now I'm going to hit this other one, and then I'm going to count up once I hit it. So 3, 2, 1.